next speaker is Bill Macklem. Bill has been a professor at the University of Alberta and taught at their Department of Extension of Real Estate and taught a course on the opportunity costs of money. He's been a mortgage broker for over 25 years, working with Century 21 in Alberta and Remax in BC, and now Dominion Lending Centers. Bill has been ranked in the top 20 brokers in Canada and the #1 broker for Remax in Western Canada for a number of years. He leads a team of professionals looking after many clients, including first-time home buyers. He has more than 25 brokers under his license, making them one of the top 20 Dominion Lending franchises for the past 5 years. Please join me in welcoming Bill Macklem.
Good evening. It's going to be a long evening listening to all us speak, and you see that. You're starting to wonder what this process looks like. As a mortgage broker for the last 25 years, I think the most important aspect of what you're doing today is the research you're actually doing today. But more importantly than that is that you have to have a team around you. And that team, as some of the people at the podium have already said, are important. So you want to make sure that you have a realtor. A realtor, to my estimation, is probably one of the key people in your team. So you got to select someone that's good. You need to pick someone that's going to give you the respect that you deserve, that's going to take the time to help you find the home that you're looking for, that is not going to slam you into the first house they find because they have a mortgage payment or a car payment to make, that they'll actually make a listing with you of the things that are important to you so that you have to keep your feet to the fire, so to speak, and they're the people that actually keep you honest. So you don't fall in love with a place that has a great smell, someone's cooking a turkey, or the great kitchen, or the wonderful windows. If it's not the things that you told your realtor, the things that you're looking for, they'll make sure that you have actually looked at that thing again and make sure that you're going to continue looking the way you're supposed to. So the realtor is important. And what you don't understand a lot of times is the realtor is free. When you're buying a home, the realtor is paid out of the proceeds from the sale of the property. So this is one of the few times in life you're going to get someone that's going to actually work for you that you don't have to pay for, that's going to be professional. The other person that you need to think about is a very good lawyer or conveyancer. So Macquarie's up here, and they're one of the best in the Lower Mainland. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a good lawyer on your side. So what do we do as consumers? Is we go and buy a $250,000 home, and we think nothing to spend that kind of money. And then we look at the fees that the lawyer is going to charge us, and we're going to try to chit them out of like $100. This is the most important part of the closing of your actual deal. So the lawyer is very, very important. So you want to make sure that you don't undermine their integrity, and you want to make sure they do the job they can. But we've come across what we call discount lawyers and conveyancers, and what happens is that when you do a mortgage with us, and then the next time you do a mortgage with us, gee, the other mortgage that was supposed to be dispersed and gone from title is still on title because they didn't do the job they're paid to do because you saved yourself $20 or $50 or $100. So you got to make sure that you know this. So the team around you is very important. Home inspector is another important one. And of course, I would have to say that being a mortgage broker is very important. But I would have to hazard a guess that anybody buying a home from $200,000 to $1 million, going out there and starting to buy a place like that, you need to think about, you need to have your own business people. You need to have your realtor, your lawyer, your mortgage broker, your home inspector, so that you make good decisions. Making a bad decision is going to cost you from $20,000 to $50,000. That's the cost of the real estate fees, and if you're a first-time home buyer buying for less than $425,000, you're going to have the property transfer tax the next time around. So the mistakes you're going to make, you want to avoid. So these are the people that you want to be utilizing. So that's why it's so critical. So I always use the analogy, if you're going to go to Machu Picchu, climb Mount Kilimanjaro, you're going to use Sherpas and guides to take you along the way because they know the way. Well, buying a home is the same kind of process. I use another analogy of the medical field, that if you were going to have a heart operation and your cousin just graduated from surgical school and he's just starting out and you need to get a heart operation, do you take him that does 1 a month, or do you take someone that's a professional that has a team around them that does 50 a month? Now you might think that this analogy is kind of not very applicable. Well, I'll tell you, if you get the wrong people involved in your housing process and your purchasing process, you're going to have a heart attack, and you're going to need that doctor. So you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing with the right people. So that's the importance of having a team of professionals around you. So one thing that you want to think about is that why would I use a mortgage broker or a banker? There are a lot of great banking people out in the field. They're dedicated, they're looking after your best interests. The unfortunate part about it is if they're really good, they get promoted and they're gone. And if they're not very good, I'm sorry to tell you, they stay there and they never leave. So you have to make sure that you're getting the right kind of people around you. So mortgage broker, I like being a mortgage broker because I'm independent. Now why are mortgage brokers even out there in the first place? Mortgage brokers are out there in the first place because the banks decide that if they had a group of people that they could pay a commission to bring people to them as banks, and then they won't have to pay them when they deliver the client, then they can get a whole new set of clients that they never could get at. So that's where mortgage brokers started. And they don't charge fees, they get paid by the banks. So what they really are is for lack of a better term, they're cab drivers driving through the maze of all the lenders and trying to find a lender that best suits your needs. If you have your own lender, they may only have specific things that they can lend on. Whereas if you have a mortgage broker, they have a much larger section. So they've got about 60 lenders they can look at. So that's why you need to look at a mortgage broker. They're independent, they're paid commission, so obviously they're very motivated to make sure that you get to the mortgage that you want and the home that you want. But they also are long-term. It's not the information that they give you before you buy, it's the information that they'll be able to supply to you after you buy. Mortgage brokers don't make any more money by giving you advice after the fact. But that's probably one of the things that mortgage brokers do better than anybody else, because they don't sell mutual funds, they don't sell GICs or RSPs. So they're an asset to you as a client. So then, therefore, you have someone to go back to that's actually going to be able to give you advice based on your current financial situation. You may have lost a job, someone may have got sick in the family. What do you do then? So you need someone to talk to that's on your side, that's not going to try to charge you anything. So that's why you use a mortgage broker. We negotiate on your side, we save you time, we've got more choices, the banks are more competitive, and in this trying time right now, with lenders changing all their criteria, you need to have a certain number of other lenders to compare with to make sure that you're getting the best rate, or the best service, or the best product. So I have a few notes. I was going to do this in an hour and a half, but they told me I had 10 minutes. So we're going to do this a little slowly. So you want to be pre-approved. What do you want to be pre-approved for? Nothing is worse than going out on those lovely Sundays and looking at all the open houses and walking in and falling in love with a home and then finding a realtor and then you make the offer, then you go get your financing and find out you never even qualified for it in the first place. You've been wasting all your savings. So there's nothing worse than that. Then what happens too is that you're actually doing a disservice. So you have this person that's listed their home and they're going to sell it. And now you've taken it off the market for the 5 or 10 days for financing, and they can't sell it to somebody else, and then at the end of the day you find out you don't qualify in the first place. The second disservice you do is the one you do to yourself. You've now fallen in love with something you can't afford. So now that you can't afford it, anything else you're going to look at is not going to compare at all. So now you have a second problem. And the third problem is you're probably being ticked off your realtor, because they work on commission, and they're trying to make sure that they're looking at the seller as well as yourself as a buyer. So that's why you want to make sure that you get pre-approved. By getting pre-approved, you're going to get an interest rate that's going to be held for 120 days for the most part. That's 4 months. You have to be moved in by then. If the rates change, well, then you extend that rate, obviously, if you haven't gone in place as yet. But the pre-approval is very, very critical. You want to make sure you've got that. You want to have it in writing. You want to make sure you supply all your documents. What are the documents? Well, the documents are is that all banks, all trust companies, all lenders require a job letter, a pay stub with a job letter. Well, that's from your employer, from your human resources department, from that department to make sure that you're making income you are. So you want to have human resources give you a job letter. You want to have a pay stub, and you want to have a notice of assessment from Revenue Canada. Why do you want to do that? Well, pay stub says you got paid last week. The notice of assessment from Revenue Canada says you got paid last year. And the job letter says you're going to have a job tomorrow. So you need the 3 pieces. You're going to need a down payment verification. Well, what does that one look like? Well, a down payment is either going to be your savings. You may have saved up your 5%, as our CBC and January people will be talking about. You may have saved up that 5%. It could be in an RSP. If it's in an RSP, you're eligible to take out $25,000 per individual, up to a maximum of 2 individuals. That's $50,000 you can take out tax-free. Only time you can ever get the money out tax-free. So you take take as much money as you can to maybe pay off some debts, and they don't track it. I mean, this isn't saying you can only use the money for your down payment. This is saying because you made the offer to purchase, you've triggered the release of your RSPs to the tune of $25,000 per person up to a maximum of 50, but you're not obligated to spend all the money on your house. You may decide that your 22% interest rate may be a better place to put that money so that when you have your mortgage, your payments are much less and you're getting a better interest rate, and then you increase your payments to compensate for the fact that you saved $400 on this other debt that you have. So there's ways of doing that. So your RSPs are important. You may have a gift from mom and dad. So in the old days, mom and dad would give you a gift. So you have to give a gift letter. You have to show the money deposited in your account. Well, today, we've gone back to the 1990s. Now you have to show that mom and dad actually have the money. You actually have to show the check going into your deposit in your account, and then you have to show the money is actually in your account. So there's a bit more involved right now. It's a little bit more what you call documentation heavy, but it's not a bad thing. So that's your down payment. Now the RSPs, as we've already talked about, but there are some other grants available to you as well. You have the home buyer's grant. The home buyer's grant, the BC home buyer's grant, allows anyone that buys a home for less than $1.2 million is that you get a $570 tax credit. So that means that if you own a home, for as long as you own a home, if the taxes are $2,000, you pay $570 off that. That's your next tax. So when you're dealing with your realtor is going to give you an MLS. An MLS spec sheet is a sheet that tells you what this wonderful property, the square footage, what it's all about, where it's supposed to, and what the taxes are. Take the $570 off that, that'll tell you what the true taxes are. So that's a perennial grant as long as you own a home. The other grant you're looking at is the property transfer tax that was alluded to earlier. So again, the property transfer tax is a tax aimed at the province for their coffers. So if you buy for less than $425, you're exempt the first time, and because they deem you as being poor. If you buy for $500,000, then you're deemed as being rich, and so now you pay 1% the first $20,000 and 2% the balance. So that's the property transfer tax. You have a federal tax. Federal tax will give you up to a $780 credit. So there's a few taxes. We've got about 28 tax credits on our website that you may want to get into, because I've just been told I don't have much time left. But I want to just wrap up with that, and thank you very much for coming this evening. We look forward to talking to you again.